Hello Mishpacha, it's Courtney, America's Jewish mother. Welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, so I'm gonna do a Friday Reads, but because this is gonna be a short Friday Reads, I'm going to combine this with my July TBR. So I'm gonna do the Friday Reads portion first, and then I will do the July TBR. So this past week I finished 2 books, and I'm currently reading 3 books, and this is gonna be a shortened Friday Reads because one of the 2 books I finished was Caste by Isabel Wilkerson, which I read for the BookTube prize, and because I read it for the BookTube prize, I can't really talk about it here. I have already recorded my thoughts about it elsewhere, and that will go up in a vlog once the finals round of the BookTube prize is underway, so like beginning of August. So I finished that. I also finished a poetry collection, At the Edge of Night by Anise Koltz. Anise Koltz is a well-known poet from Luxembourg, and this book was sent to me by the lovely Roz at Scandalous about the books. So thank you again, Roz, for sending this to me. This is translated from the French by Anne-Marie Glasheen. So this has a number of poems from various of Anise Koltz's collections over the years. And I liked this overall. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It is a bilingual, I guess, edition where it has the original French on this side of the page and then the English translation on the other side of the page. And I'm personally really glad that my French is decent enough that I could understand most of what was in the original French, because I wasn't crazy about the translation always. A lot of times I felt like the translation was too literal and it missed kind of like what the poem actually meant, for the sake of what the literal meaning of the words was, and I think that doesn't always translate, haha, pun intended. but I did enjoy these overall. Most of the poems are quite short and they pack, a powerful punch. Anise Koltz writes with a lot of anger and intensity, and probably the last selections of poems in here from her collection Béni soit le serpent, which is Blessed be the Serpent. Those are probably my favorites. So we'll read you one selection from here, and I will read the English translation. So here we go. My words are grown used to war, to atom bomb attacks, to concentration camps. My malnourished, anemic words have terror-filled eyes. There is no hope in the poem, nor certainty. I bury you in the cavernous tombs that appear between words, then facing each question I collapse. Life depends on each word. I shall leave uncultivated a world of unsaid if I remain silent. Through writing, I penetrate the impossible. Beneath the grazes of the letters, the ink that flows is my blood. Writing is in the impossible. With it, I visit hell. My poem is hot bread. Eat it, it is my body. It invents future and past in order to escape the present. When words no longer inhabit my mouth, I shall fill it with stones. So that's kind of the intensity that I'm talking about here. So I like this overall, but again, I was not crazy about the translation, so I would recommend it if you speak French, if your French is good enough that you could probably also, like I did, read the original in French, because again, I do feel like there is a little something missing from the English translation, and even though I liked these overall, sometimes I wish they were just longer, because a lot of them are on the short side. But I did like this overall, and again, I would recommend it if you like poetry and if you speak any French. So again, thank you to Roz for sending me this poetry collection, because otherwise I would never have heard of Anise Koltz or read anything by her, so yes. So those are the 2 books I finished. So in terms of currently reading, I'm still buddy reading The Essential Ralph Waldo Emerson with Karen Evans. And I'm also currently buddy reading Louise Erdrich's The Roundhouse with Jenny of What's Bookin'. We're about 200 pages into this, so I imagine we're going to finish it up within the next week. And I think both of us are really liking this so far. I mean, I'm certainly liking it. This is narrated by 13-year-old Joe. It's actually narrated by Joe as an adult, but he's looking back at events that occurred when he was 13 years old. And so it starts off with his mother being attacked and then kind of goes into the aftermath of the attack, and she's really reluctant to talk about it. And Joe and his father, Basil, who is a judge, really tried to figure out what exactly happened to her. And they're also really concerned that she'll, you know, kind of never go back to like the way she was before the attack happened. But yeah, it's really good. I like the way there's like a mystery sort of element to it. I'm liking the way things are coming together. It was just revealed who the whodunit part was just revealed, or at least ostensibly revealed. Maybe it actually wasn't revealed. So I'm curious to see how this will unfold in the next, because we still have about 120 pages left, so I'm curious to see where it's going to go from here. And something else that this book does that I was pleasantly surprised about, and I've said this to Jenny in our Voxer conversations, is that there is some crossover with characters who get mentioned in this book with characters from the Love Medicine series, which I was surprised about because this is part of the so-called Justice trilogy, which consists of The Roundhouse, The Plague of Doves, and La Rose. So I was not expecting any crossover with characters that I previously read about in the Love Medicine series, but I was surprised to see that both Father Damien and Nana Push, both of them are characters that I've really enjoyed from the Love Medicine series, got mentioned in here, so that was nice to see. So definitely still enjoying this. We'll certainly finish this by the end of the month. And then the last book I'm currently reading is a biography of Tallulah Bankhead by David Bret called Tallulah Bankhead, A Scandalous Life. And I have to say, this is not going well, unfortunately. Now, Tallulah Bankhead is a hoot and a half to read about because she just does all these, you know, wild and outlandish things. And just to give you an example of what I'm talking about here, this is something I read this morning. Though Tallulah and Joan Crawford never became very close friends, they nurtured a tremendous admiration for one another and had more than a little in common in their ability to live life to the fullest. When Joan remarked that the film star William Haines was looking for a long-term tenant for his self-designed mansion on North Stanley Avenue, Tallulah insisted that she should be the one. Haines, one of the biggest stars in Hollywood during the silent era, and nicknamed Lavender Lips for his other talents, had failed his voice test when Louis B. Mayer had called him lip lazy, to which he retorted, "I've never had any complaints." Naturally, Tallulah unearthed all the juicy details about Haines's past life and loves, and she told the real estate agent, "Darling, I simply have to sleep in the room where Bill Haines got it together with that divine Clark Gable," little realizing the statement would cause an almighty hubbub a few years later during the shooting of Gone with the Wind. So, you know, she says things that are, again, like I said, really outlandish and over the top and dramatic, and so she herself is quite an entertaining figure, but this book, unfortunately, is written in a way that is just sort of very matter-of-fact. Like, it's almost like reading an extended newspaper article about her. There just doesn't seem to be any sort of joy in it, or yeah, like David Bret just like doesn't seem to care about Tallulah Bankhead. He's just like, yeah, and then she did this and this and this and this happened, you know. It's all very matter of fact, and so so yeah, I'm not enjoying it as much as I was hoping I would. Even though, again, Tallulah herself is quite entertaining, and so I'm a little miffed that David Bret could dare make her as a subject almost boring, dare I say. So I will finish this because I am interested to know more about Tallulah Bankhead, and right now I'm at the part where she's come back from her days in London, so I will finish this by the end of the month, but again, it's not going as well as I would have liked. So that is it with the Friday Reads portion. So now on to my July TBR. So I have several books that I'm going to prioritize in the month of July for one reason or another, and then the rest of this is basically a pile of possibilities. So in terms of the books I plan to prioritize in July, the first one is Louis Menand's The Free World, Art and Thought in the Cold War. This is a hefty tome, and so I've decided to divide it up and read 25 pages every day so that I can get through this 730-page book by the end of July, because I do want to read this, and I would like to read it sooner rather than later. And essentially, this is Louis Menand's tome about how culture and thinking in the United States shifted after the Cold War, or during and after the Cold War, and what caused those shifts. And I think there are a lot of figures that he discusses in here, so I will report back when I have more details about it. So that's one that I'm for sure going to prioritize in July. The next two are my last two books that I need to read for the BookTube Prize, so certainly I will prioritize those as well. One is Our Bodies, Their Battlefields by Christina Lamb, which, to my understanding, is about the use of rape as a weapon of war, so I'm sure this is going to be really tough to get through. And then the last of my BookTube Prize books that I have to read for this round is Wayetu Moore's memoir, The Dragons, the Giant, the Women. So those are both for the BookTube Prize. Then for my own personal Arab American literature project in July, I will be reading The Cairo House by Samia Serageldin. And it doesn't have a blurb on the back, but my understanding is this is about a family living in Egypt during the Anwar Sadat years, and about the sort of uprooting of their lives because of political turmoil in the country. So that is my understanding of this, so looking forward to reading that, because I don't think I've actually read anything so far. I don't think I've read anything by an Egyptian writer or set in Egypt, so definitely looking forward to this. I will also be prioritizing two buddy reads in the month of July. One is Emma by Jane Austen for Jane Austen July. And this is going to be the first Jane Austen book that I've ever read, so I'm excited about that. And I will be doing that as a buddy read with middle of the book March and with Ms. Moody Reader. And then the other buddy read that I have in the month of July is The Edwardians by Vita Sackville-West. I will be doing this as a buddy read with Margaret Bernard. And this is described as a portrait of fashionable society at the height of the era. The Edwardians revealed all that was glamorous about the period and all that was to lead to its downfall. First published in 1930, it was Vita Sackville-West's most successful book. So I've never read anything by Vita Sackville-West, and I am looking forward to getting to both this book and Emma. So those are all of the books that I want to prioritize. So now we're on to the sort of pile of possibilities portion of this TBR. So the first one is The Travelers by Regina Porter. This was given to me by Lindsay in our holiday book exchange last year. And I think it's about, well, I'll just read you the back. James Samuel Vincent is an affluent Manhattan attorney who shirks his modest Irish-American background, but hews to his father's philandering ways. He muddles through a topsy-turvy relationship with his son Rufus, which is further complicated when Rufus marries Claudia Christie. Claudia's mother Agnes is a beautiful African-American woman who survives a chance encounter on a Georgia road that propels her into a new life in the Bronx. Soon after, Claudia's father Eddie is called to duty on an aircraft carrier in Vietnam, where Tom Stoppard's play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead becomes his life anchor. Side note, it's a really good play. As he grapples with mounting racial tensions on the ship and counts the days until he will see Agnes again. These unforgettable characters' lives intersect with a wide and piercingly written cast of lovers and friends, creating both an intimate family portrait and a sweeping exploration of what it means to be American today. So that's all I know about this, is what it says on the tin, as people say. But I am looking forward to this. I know Lindsay read this and really enjoyed it last year, I think. So that will be another book that I will hopefully get to in the month of July. I also want to get to Annie Zaidi's Prelude to a Riot. This is to fulfill a prompt for the Reading Women Challenge, which is to read a book longlisted for the JCB Prize, which is a prize given to works of Indian fiction. So this says, in a peaceful southern town amidst amidst lush spice plantations, trouble is brewing. In the town live 3 generations of 2 families, one Hindu and the other Muslim, whose lives will be changed forever by the coming violence. And then it goes into, you know, which characters are at risk. Quietly but surely, the specter of religious intolerance is beginning to haunt the community in the guise of the Self-Respect Forum, whose mission is to divide the town and destroy the delicate balance of respect and cooperation that has existed for hundreds of years. So this is a fairly slim book. I think it clocks in at maybe not even 200 pages. Yeah, it's like 180 pages. So I don't foresee that this will be a problem to get through in the month of July, so looking forward to getting to this. Also, Want to get to John Updike's short story collection, Pigeon, Feathers, and Other Stories. I actually hauled this about a year ago, and I still haven't read it yet, but I want to read it because one of the stories that's in this collection, which is A&P, is a story that I really like, and I've taught it a number of times, and it's one of the few, like, coming-of-age stories I've read that I really like, because I think it's realistic. So I'm definitely curious to see what else John Updike has to offer with his short stories in this particular volume. Also, really want to read, this is not a pretty copy because it's just a hardback library copy, but Cynthia Ozick's Quarrel and Quandary, which is a collection for essays. As you know, if you've been following my channel, I really like Cynthia Ozick's work a lot, and this collection of essays was published in 2000. So yeah, I mean, I can't really like give you a description of what it's about based on the titles of the essays, but I mean, she writes about literature, so I'm sure it's going to be about, you know, various figures in literature. I saw Dostoevsky mentioned, I saw Anne Frank mentioned in the contents, also Henry James, because Cynthia Ozick can't write an essay collection without writing about Henry James because she has loved him her whole life. So definitely looking forward to getting to this because I really like Cynthia Ozick and I think she's really sharp and incisive as both a fiction writer of short stories and as a literary critic in essays. Would also like to get to in July, Jiří Weil's novel Mendelssohn is on the Roof. This is, Jiří Weil was a Jewish Czech writer. So this is SS officer Julius Schlesinger is ordered to remove the statue of Jewish composer Mendelssohn from the roof of the Prague Academy of Music before an official concert. Unsure which amongst the decorative statues is Mendelssohn, he tells his men to remove the statue with the biggest nose. Unfortunately, this is the statue of Wagner. This darkly comic and deeply moving novel traces the transformation of ordinary lives during the Nazi occupation of Prague. Weil tells the story of the struggle to survive in a labyrinthine regime where humor, as well as great courage, is required to retain hope and humanity. So that sounds good. Definitely looking forward to getting to this. And I like this edition of the book, which is the British version of it. I just think it's very nicely designed. Also in July, I would like to get to this collection of poetry, transcript by Heimrad Bäcker. Heimrad Bäcker. I think that's how you pronounce the A with the umlaut. Can let me know if I'm wrong. So this I got on the recommendation of Mark Nash, and let me tell you what, I trust poetry recommendations from Mark Nash. So this, to my understanding, is found poetry, and it gives you actual documents from the Holocaust and from the Nazi administration, and yeah, it gives you like a transcript of what happened, more or less, because I think one of Becker's goals here is to say that, you know, you can actually show what is unspeakable. Like it's not actually unspeakable. So definitely looking forward to getting to this, even though I'm sure it's going to be a bummer. So, can you imagine if I read that at the same time that I'm reading the book about rape as a war weapon? Oh my god. And then last but not least, I would like to get to David Henry Hwang's Yellow Face. And this is a play that I actually have read previously, but I would like to reread it just because it's been a while and I like David Henry Hwang's work. So yeah, this is about the production of Miss Saigon, and about quote-unquote colorblind casting, because I think what ends up happening is they cast an actor who says he's Asian, but then it turns out he's actually not Asian, and then sort of what happens after that. And I do remember it being comical and an interesting exploration of identity, so would like to get to this as well. So that is everything that I would like to get to in the month of July, and or that I'm prioritizing in the month of July. So let me see if I can hold up the big pile. So this is everything minus Emma. Okay, yeah, this is really heavy. So let me know if you have thoughts about any of these books. I would love to hear that. Let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you're excited to read in July. And thank you for watching this. I hope everyone is staying healthy and well. I hope you're doing good reading whatever you're reading. And until next time, would it kill you to call your mother?